Hi, everyone. This full moon in Pisces is going to be one of endings, reevaluations, realizations, coming to terms with things, and a little bit of discordance as it relates to certain areas of relationships in our lives. And so, this is a full blood moon lunar eclipse happening, depending on where you are in the world, Sunday, September 7th, or Monday, September 8th. So, are you ready to dive in? Let's go. So, this full moon in the sign of Pisces. This is not just a full moon, this is a total blood moon lunar eclipse. And I do apologize. I could not tame my hair today, it just does not like me. But I will say that this full moon lunar eclipse is one of endings, evaluations, reevaluations, realizations, and highly volatile emotional situations. And so the thing with this is that full moons are full moons. Eclipses are full moons on steroids. And it's not necessarily that the world is going to end or something is just going to come crashing down around you. In some instances, depending on how things hit your chart, yes, it will. But we have supporting aspects from Jupiter. We have support where we need it, especially if you are born with any of the water placements between 10 and 20 degrees of Pisces, of Cancer, of Scorpio, and even I would dare say 12 to 17 degrees of Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, right? So it's going to be a little bit more intense for Virgo Pisces. But if you are a water or an earth sign within those degrees that I just mentioned, get your chart and look at it. It could be a little bit more supportive, a little bit easier to kind of move through and flow through these things that are going on here. Now, as it relates to the trine to Jupiter, this is really nice. This is support in terms of moving through and completing something that can be beneficial, that is nurturing, that is nurturing yourself or nurturing other people, because Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer and it is exalted. So even though, this is a blood moon eclipse, even though this has Saturn at 29 degrees of Pisces, we could be revisiting some old structures, old forms, old relationships, again, depending on how this hits your chart, or old conversations or emotionally charged situations. The trine to Jupiter, however, again, will help negate some of this back and forth. It's almost like there is a benefic mediator going on between the sun and the moon being in opposition and this eclipse. So if you don't know what an eclipse is, especially a blood moon, it's where the moon passes directly behind the Earth's shadow, and temporarily the sun kind of is hitting the Earth on one side and it's lancing around, right? The way light hits. The moon doesn't go completely black like a total solar eclipse does, but it does turn a little pinkish, reddish. And it is kind of eerie to look at. And this one specifically, as it relates to Pisces, we could see things going on in the health and wellness field. We could definitely see things going on with hospitals, with food, with process, procedure, because it's not just a full moon lunar eclipse, right? The sun is also in Virgo. The South Node is in Virgo. Mercury is in Virgo. And Virgo is nothing if not driven by process and procedure and doing things in the right way. So what could be happening around the time of this full moon, or even shortly thereafter, is that there could be situations, scenarios, or events that unfold as it relates to the food industry, as it relates to the healthcare industry, as it relates to how we care for, and especially with Saturn here, the elderly, the sick, right? Those types of things. I'm just saying this is something that I've noticed that has come up in kind of the collective as it relates to since the nodes moved into Virgo and Pisces. And really, there also too has been a lot of strange and uncharacteristically, I don't know what the word is to use, but I have noticed in my area specifically where I live that there's been a lot of people passing away due to cancers, due to different failures of different body systems and things like that. Like, it's been very prevalent in the area that I live. And I don't know where you live or what's going on, but these are definitely things to keep in mind as we go through this. And I'm not trying to fear monger. Please do not take this verbatim. I'm just saying things that I have noticed, things that I have seen around me. And, I'm one person. There's 8 billion people on this planet. So your experience and other people's experience and the things that you notice might be a little bit different. So there is that. Now, as it relates to the spiritual element of this, Virgo and Pisces, definitely highly pragmatic Virgo in comparison to highly spiritual and free-floating Pisces. So there could definitely be arguments, disputes, or kind of like an opposition between the spiritual side of things versus the practical, pragmatic, down to earth, like types of people, right? Now, the other thing that's going on with this full moon, and actually let me share my chart so that way you can see what I am talking about and we can use this as a learning tool. So hopefully you can see my chart. But what's going on here is that this full moon, right, in trine with Jupiter, the nodes especially are very close to being in an exact trine with Jupiter. There is this in conjunction with Venus and this full moon, an exact in conjunction. And that's why I said at the beginning that there could be a little bit of a discordance, a little bit of, angst, a little bit of kind of jarring things going on as it relates to our relationships, or even as it relates to how we view leadership in ourselves, in other people, things like that, right? Because Venus in the sign of Leo, Venus is all about connection and connecting with other people. It is about aesthetics. Can be about money as well, hard assets like gold, silver, those types of things. But also in the sign of Leo, Leo has a tendency to lead, right? Lead from the heart, or just lead in general. They take charge. They don't mean to, but they do. Sometimes they mean to, sometimes they don't. It just depends, right, on the type of Leo that you're dealing with. Now, in this particular instance, because there is this in conjunction, there could be a discordant energy as it relates to how we're relating to leadership, or how we're relating to our own personal sovereign way of leading, whether it's through ourselves, leading other people, what have you. There can be a discordant energy there. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it could be something that's going on psychologically, because in conjunctions are psychological in nature. So there is that as well. And the other things that are going on with this full moon at the time is that Mars is moving into a tight opposition with Chiron. So this could definitely see us reevaluating our relationship with old hurts, old wounds, old vulnerabilities, insecurities, and things like that as it relates to our independence or our connection with other people. Are we interdependent or are we codependent? That's something to look at as well at this full moon, just because Mars is also in opposition with Chiron. Now, the other part of this is that Mars is moving on from its exact square with Jupiter at the time of this full moon. And so this could definitely see us evaluating or coming into conflict with those over nurturers, those people that want to over nurture us and overdo things and right? Those it's smothering, right? And Mars is already very uncomfortable in the sign of Libra, but we want to defer. We don't necessarily trust the actions that we want to take already with Mars in Libra. We want to defer to others, but ultimately we need to be careful of that because of my previous mentioned Chiron opposition and this square to Jupiter, because it can mean that there is action that needs to be taken in terms of how you nurture, how you support, or how you are there for other people. But it could also be that there is someone, some benefactor that is over nurturing, over smothering, over sharing, over, right? Because Jupiter is an expansive planet. Mars is a planet of action. So there could also be a little bit of pressure here as well. But it's one of those things. So that is what I have for the general reading in terms of like how I see this. Not to get too much into detail about it. I also have some ideas about the food industry and certain things coming to light as it relates to the poisons that they put in our foods, the chemicals, the ingredients, and things like that, because Pisces also has domain over that. With Saturn here, definitely oversight or what have you. Also, not to get too political, but the current hearings that are going on in terms of RFK Jr. and the vaccinations and things like that. So there's definitely that type of energy going on, because Virgo and Pisces do have associations with hospitals, medicines, things like that. And Pisces especially has a lot to do with vaccinations and all of that. So take that how you will, take that how whatever your viewpoint is on that, and just roll with that. I'm not for or against or anything like that. I think to each their own, and it's a personal choice. So I will say that at least. But yeah, there's definitely some things going on here as it relates to the health and vaccinations, medicine, poisons, all of that. Food especially could definitely be a part of this, and all of that. So that is what I have for that. And so we will get into all 12 signs. I guess we will start with Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius and for Sagittarius rising, after all of that, what this is saying for you is that there could be a push-pull. There could be something going on as it relates to who you're showing up as in the world and what's going on behind the scenes at home. There could be something coming to a head as it relates to who you're living with, how you're living, the property that you live on, or property in general as it relates to that. There could be some structural things going on. Be aware that the waterworks of the property could be up for fixing, especially with Saturn here. But also like any type of mold or anything like that could be highlighted at this time. And this is not for all Sagittarius rising people. This is just for a select few that live in an area that is susceptible to mold. But as it relates to this could also be something going on in terms of what you're trying to do out in the world. The people you live with at home, either your immediate family members or even your parents, there could be something going on in their lives. There could be something going on even with some of you, your spouse's parents and your own parents. There could be some angst going on there between them for other people. The other part of this too is that there could definitely be some type of benefit, some type of benefactor, some type of insurance, things that are coming up, some type of monetary something or other, right? That's coming in, because with Jupiter here in the eighth house is all about insurance, taxes, joint finances, resources that come in from an outside source, whether it's through clients and a business, or it's through your spouse's income and things like that. So there's definitely support here through other people or other sources of income as it relates to this as well. This could also be an inheritance of some kind. If those of you that have had a parent recently pass away, you're waiting for, the insurance money, you're waiting for the death tax, you're waiting for all of these things to come through from a parent that has already passed. This could be highlighting what's going on with that, when it's coming to an end, and all of that. So that's for a few others as well. And for others of you, this could just be something that's really uncomfortable, and there's a third party situation happening. as it relates to, you know, you, the people that you live with, someone else. This could even be, this is a very heightened emotional time. And so this could definitely see people looking for some type of escape or some type of outside resource in order to help you through this as well. This is also a very prickly one for Sagittarius risings because Jupiter is your chart ruler, and it's transiting the 8th house. It is exalted, so it is like a protective quality in terms of joint finances and resources and insurances and inheritances. But, you know, this full moon is highlighting what's going on in terms of the people that you live with and all of that. This could even see some things going on as it relates to property purchase or property sale. The purchase or the sale of a home could be something that's coming up, especially with that Jupiter transiting the 8th house. This could be a loan coming through to purchase a property or money coming through from the sale of a property as well. So that's for others of you. And we're going to move on because I've talked that to death. So for Capricorn and for Capricorn rising, this full moon is happening in your 3rd house. So what's being highlighted in terms of the sun transiting your 9th house is your beliefs in God, the universe, the world around you, your dogmatic belief systems, and whether or not this is religious in nature, this is spiritual in nature, or this is just your viewpoint on who you are and how you relate to everything else around you, right? Because the 9th house is that. It's who you are as an individual, but how you relate to everyone else and how you see your position in the world around you, basically, right? So this full moon is highlighting kind of big picture, little picture, the details and, you know, the 10,000 foot view. And so the support can come from a partner or a partnership or someone that you are speaking to. There could be something that's being highlighted in terms of your siblings or your extended family members like cousins. This could definitely see something being highlighted in their life or highlighted in, you know, yeah, in their life, or some communication or conversation that comes in about a sibling, about an extended family member. And it could have to do with either, you know, a communication of, oh, someone, you know, someone's in hospital, someone, you know, just, oh, they've just purchased a brand new car, these types of things. And the reason I say hospital is because Jupiter also rules in this chart the 12th house of what's behind the scenes. This could even be conversations coming to light about secrets too, right? Because Jupiter does rule that area, or secrets about a partner or a partnership or something like that. Could definitely. This could also see communications. This could even be reverse that, right? No, reverse. This could even see you having conversations about a relationship that you have kept secret, and now you're telling your siblings or you're telling, you know, the people around you, that type of thing, with Jupiter being in 7th house, being in trine. So you're relating with people as well. For some of you, not all of you, right? But for others of you, this could definitely see education, writing, publishing, speaking events, things like that. This could see you finishing a book and getting ready to publish it, especially with that solar eclipse coming up in your 9th house soon. This could even see you purchase of a vehicle or selling a vehicle. This could see a vehicle just suddenly dying on you and you have to purchase a new one, that type of thing. With Saturn here, this is where your focus is as well, because Saturn is your chart ruler. And so this could definitely see some of you too. This could be litigation about joint resources or lawsuits or something like that as well. I say that because Saturn also rules your 2nd house and the sun rules your 8th house, and we have Venus here. So there could definitely be some discordant energy too. And for some of you, maybe a partner is spending more money than you want them to. There's definitely that with that little bit of indulgence with Venus in the 8th house with Leo. That could definitely be a thing there too. So that is what I have for you. And we're not going to go into details. I'm going to say what I say and then we're going to move on. So So now we're on Aquarius and Aquarius rising. So just like Leo, Aquarius, you're having your own personal financial stuff, and partners' resources are being highlighted with this full moon lunar eclipse. So you could be finalizing, finishing, wrapping something up as it relates to debt, as it relates to finances, as it relates to, bills and things like that. This could see you either getting into debt or paying off a debt as well. And especially with that North Node there in the second house, this is you letting go of a resource from either a spouse or from a partnership or from a business relationship, and moving more towards relying on your own income. And it's going to take hard work because Saturn also rules you as well, but Saturn is transiting your second house. So this is where the focus is for you, and working on your own personal resources, working on getting things in order here it's something that you're going to have to wrap up, right? Because Saturn is at 29 degrees during this lunar eclipse. But with Jupiter in the sixth house, this could have to do with wrapping up bills as it relates to your health, as it relates to your work, right? As it relates to like making money through work. Maybe your work is because you're burnt out and like you need a rest, you need, replenishment in terms of your body. But also this could see you getting another job. Like it's the end of a struggle bus for you, and you're moving into a job that fulfills you at that nurturance level that you need in your daily life. It could be something like that too. This could also see you working with friends. This could see you definitely, I see that as well. But for sure, like your focus is on your resources and your income and like your safety, your security, all of that. So there's definitely something as it relates to joint finances and even insurance. Like maybe you're getting a payout. Maybe this is something that you're getting a payout for. Okay. And now for Aries and for Aries rising, this full moon is happening in your 12th house. So as it relates to your health, your wellness, your routines, the things that you've been doing every day, you have the sun here in the sixth house in Virgo. And so it is with the South Node. So you're letting go of something as it relates to your routine, what you're doing every day. And with this full moon eclipse happening in your 12th house, you're letting go of something that is behind the scenes. You're letting go of a vice, whether or not this is letting go of an escapist addiction habit that you have, especially with Saturn here, getting that help that you need from an authority in your life, or even like just working on your own idiosyncrasies and insecurities and things like that, and working on, what's going on behind the scenes as it relates to like the secrets that you have, or your secrets even could be illuminated with this as well. So that's a thing too. Or secrets as it relates to what's going on in the household, secrets as it relates to parents. Perhaps your parents are keeping secrets from you, and that's being highlighted at this time, especially because there is that mutual reception of the moon and Jupiter in the sign of Cancer and Pisces. That could definitely be something. For others of you, this could see, an epiphany or a dream or just something going on behind the scenes that is not for consumption right now or not for public knowledge right now, but it's something that you're working on behind the scenes to move forward with at a later date. That's what I have for that. Woo, let's go back to Taurus. All right, and for Taurus and for Taurus rising, this full moon eclipse is happening in your 11th house of your networks, the people that you associate with by choice, money that you have coming in from your career, from your public reputation, especially if you're an influencer or something like that. This full moon happening in your 11th house, especially with Saturn here at 29 degrees, like this is a lot. You're giving up, letting go, and moving on from old, stagnant, restrictive friendships and relationships and group dynamics. And this is kind of like the final push. Within the next 6 months, you are going to be free of all of these people that feel limiting, or this feeling of being limited in the social networks and groups that you belong to. So that could definitely be something that's going on here. Now, with the sun at the opposite end of this in the fifth house, this is illuminating like joy, fun, play, what you want to do. This could even be children if you are of childbearing age, especially with the nodes here too. Like if you don't want to get pregnant, make sure you're wrapping it up or having it wrapped up or making sure that you're abstaining from certain activities. But as it relates to that, if it's something that you really want, you could have a child, and it could be a very karmic thing going on here. And with this trine to Jupiter, there's conversations that are going on, you know, about children or about fun or about play or about the things that you love to do, hobbies and things that you care about, and even self-expression, who you are, how you're expressing. Maybe you're letting go of an old way of expressing who you are and how you're being, and you're starting to talk about that, and you're talking about the things that you're letting go of as well. And with this full moon, you know, in trine with Jupiter, this could definitely see you having conversations with people and letting them know, hey, you know, I really think I'm going to move on. I think I'm going to move forward. You know, I think I'm going to move out of this relationship that I have with this person or that person, or let go of this friend group because I need to move on. That type of thing. All right. And for Gemini and Gemini rising, this full moon is happening in your 10th house of career and public reputation. This is the top of your chart. Something is coming to fruition, to completion, and all of that. And this could have something to do with, especially if you're a Gemini rising, as it relates to old traumas, old wounds, old insecurities, and things like that. You're letting go, you're moving on from that, because Saturn has been up here in your 10th house, and it's been wreaking havoc. So with this full moon, it's highlighting what the last vestiges and things that need to go from this part of your life, from this part of your chart, right? And who you are and how you're known out in the world is going to shift very dramatically once that happens in the next 6 months. But this full moon too, like your focus with the sun transiting your fourth house has been on what you need to let go of in terms of who you're living with. This could be people moving in or out of your home. And I would say out just because, you know, it is the south node, but also too, like what's going on behind the scenes is being highlighted for you as well. But there is this kind of big thing that's going on as it relates to money, materials, possessions, the money that you earn, and the things that you have, and the things you do as well could be highlighted at this time, especially with that trine to Jupiter, you know, with the moon and the north node in that second house. So there could definitely be like hard work paying off. Maybe not 100% yet, but it's definitely something that you see coming down the road. And these are decisions that need to be made in order to have the income that you want and the career and the public reputation that you want as well. All right. And for Cancer and for Cancer rising, this full moon is happening in your 9th house. You know, there's this back and forth dynamic as it relates to who you are out in the world in terms of your position, where you are, the people that are around you, how you see yourself relating to the world in general, right? How you see yourself relating to religion, how you see yourself relating to even other peers, other teachers, other things like that. With Jupiter here, you could either be formalizing and finishing up and wrapping up an educational pursuit, or you could be beginning one, right? Or you could even be endeavoring, especially the timing of it now, of getting a teaching job and being a teacher and doing that type of thing, especially with the sun here. If you're a Virgo sun and you're a Cancer rising, this could definitely see something like that as well. But as it relates to like what it is that you're doing, what you believe and how you believe it, is there's some finalization that needs to happen. There's some solidifying, right? Especially with that Saturn influence that needs to take place in order for you to say, yeah, I know what this is. I know this information. I know what I've learned and experienced to be right, true, and just. And I'm going to, you know, shout it from the rooftops or do what I need to do with it in order to make my life better. That's what I see with this for Cancer risings. For Leo and for Leo rising, just like Aquarius, this is happening in your second and your eighth house. So there could definitely be some things coming to light as it relates to joint resources, finances, insurances, taxes, inheritances, things like that. And with this full moon highlighting this area, you know, your focus has been on your finances. Your focus has been on either the lack thereof or building, right? So there you could be utilizing skills and gifts from the past that you've attained to put things in the proper order, get things going in the proper way, process, procedure, things like that. And then with this full moon happening in the eighth house, this could definitely see a highlight of where your resources meet other people, the karmic debts that you have financially as well as spiritually, because we can't get away from the Pisces spirituality portion. But there could be karmic things that are wrapping up in terms of your relationships, your contracts, your agreements, things like that, especially with Saturn involved, the seventh house ruler and the sixth house ruler of work. There could be something coming to an end here in the next few weeks as it relates to work, as it relates to relationship, as it relates to whether or not this is a business partnership, a marriage, or like a contractual obligation with someone that's coming to an end, and you're going to be able to move on from that. Because it's with Saturn here too, it's probably something that's been a long time coming over the last few years. So that is what I see for that. And then we have Virgo and Virgo rising. This full moon is happening in your seventh house. So what is being highlighted to you right now are the relationships that you have, the hobbies that you have as well, because Saturn is also involved. So maybe there's something going on too as it relates to children, relationships, marriage. If you are a Virgo rising or Virgo sun, anywhere around that mid-degree, I'm sure you've been going through this quite heavily. And it could even be that now is the time to pull the trigger on, you know, the things that you want to do, whether or not that is getting married, getting divorced, that is changing something that's going on in terms of your relationships. And it's been a long time coming, right? With Saturn here transiting the seventh house, your relationships, your contracts, your agreements, even like your relationship with your spouse or your business partners has felt very heavy and very burdensome and more like work. And maybe it's time to move on from that. Maybe it's time to say, okay, well, it's being highlighted right now. And so you can have support that comes in as it relates to, you know, your friends group, the people that you associate with by choice, or, you know, the people that you surround yourself with by choice. There could definitely be some support there that you can lean on and you can work with as it relates to who you are becoming, because you yourself with this South Node in the seventh house are shedding who you were, and kind of like the skin of a snake, right, is sloughing off and you're becoming someone else. You're letting go of something from the past. You're moving towards a relationship that you want, or even if this is redefining and redoing a relationship that you do have with someone, again, this could be business, this could be personal, right? But there's a movement towards like, I can't be who I've always been if I want to keep this relationship going, right? So there is a sacrifice, there is a release. On the other end of this, if you are proposing, that could be something going on. If you are married, your spouse could say, this isn't working. Sorry, it's just not working. Or it could be, let's make decisions as it relates to when we're going to have kids or how things are going, etc. Right? Because Saturn is here. Saturn rules your fifth house of children. It also rules your sixth house of work. So there could definitely be some contractual work obligations that are coming to an end, especially if that work has felt more burdensome and nebulous and all of that over the last few years. So that's a thing. And then for Libra and for Libra rising, this full moon is happening in your sixth house. So this is highlighting your routines, the things that you're doing every day, who you're interacting with on a daily basis, how you're interacting with them, whether or not this is your coworkers, your subordinates, or people that you work with, right? Your colleagues. You could definitely be saying goodbye to someone, or you could be saying hello to someone new coming in, right? Especially if, you're a mid-degree Libra rising, really all Libra rising, but especially that you could be proactively going after a contract with someone, or proactively going after like something that's like a employee. That's the word I was looking for. And I just said it. I don't know why I forgot it. So with this, there could be a pursuit of either a new employee, an employee leaving, a new employee coming in. There could be some things going on here that are kind of like, okay, well, I don't really know what I'm doing with my work or my work schedule. Things have felt really heavy over the last few years, and that's going to come to an end very soon, at least within the next 6 months. So that is definitely something to watch out for. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, this full moon is happening in your 5th house as it relates to passions and children, or passions and people, right? Because this is where we can have lovers, romance. This is hobbies as well, things that we love to do just because we love to do them. This could definitely be as it relates to like romance and passion, as I said. So there could be something coming to an end as it relates to a project that you've been working on, a hobby that you've been working on, something that you love to do. It has felt really burdensome over the last few years. That's coming to an end, but you need to extricate yourself in order to move on to something new. And so it could even be that you need to let go with that Sun and South node. You need to let go of an old career. You need to let go of an old paradigm. You need to let go of friends or friends groups or people that you associate with, to be able to move more into the things that you're passionate about, the things that you want to do. And even like communication is definitely a big one here, because Saturn does rule your 3rd house of communication, vehicles as well, things like that. But ultimately too, if you're Scorpio rising and you're of childbearing age, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Taurus. If you don't want to get pregnant, wrap it, abstain, do whatever you need to do so you're not getting pregnant. If you are a Scorpio rising and you want to get pregnant, there's definitely some things that are coming about right now that are happening to be fortuitous in that sense. So that is something for sure that you need to pay attention to. Yeah, that's what I have for Scorpio. And so that's it. That's all 12 signs. And so, yes, I have been missing. I have been MIA. I have been working a buttload behind the scenes and not on astrology, but I've been paying attention every day to the astrology. So I just figured I'd come on. I would share this. I had a little bit of time before I have to go to my job, my other work. Yeah. And so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had fun. And yeah, maybe I'll see you soon. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Peace, everyone.